Hello, it's time to noontime prayer. I brought the Adult Bible Study Guide of the 3rd of 2025, titled Exodus, and it has actually 13 lessons. Let me read all the contents 1 through 13. Lesson 1, Operation, the background and the birth of Moses. 2, the burning bush. 3, rough start. 4, the plagues. 5, Passover. 6, through the Red Sea. 7, the bread and the water of life. 8, covenant at Sinai. 9, living the law. 10, the covenant and the blueprint. 11, apostasy and intercession. 12, please show me your glory. 13, the tabernacle. Now we're gonna read. Today is the Friday of uh, the September, the first week, the, the lesson 10, the covenant and the blueprint. The, the memory text comes from the Exodus 24:3. So Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord has said we will do. And Sunday, the book and the blood. Monday, seeing God. Tuesday, power to obey. Wednesday, in the midst of his people. Thursday, filled with the Spirit of God. Today, Friday, the further thought, the tabernacle and its services, page 343 through 53 in Patriarchs and Prophets. The tabernacle was a special place where atonement was accomplished for the confessed sins of God's people. It was the place where indeed the entire plan of salvation had been revealed, and in some detail too, to the children of Israel while they were in the wilderness. Justification, sanctification, and judgment were all taught there. Every animal sacrifice pointed to the death of Jesus, the forgiveness of sins, and eventually the blotting out of sins. And two, along with the sacrifice was the presence of God's law, the standard of righteousness. The law of God enshrined within the ark was the great rule of righteousness and judgment. That law pronounced death upon the transgressor, but above the law was the mercy seat, upon which the presence of God was revealed, and from which by virtue of the atonement pardon was granted to the repentant sinner. Thus, in the work of Christ for our redemption, symbolized by the sanctuary service, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Psalm 85:10. The Patriarchs and Prophets, page 349 by Ellen G. White. Discussion. There are 4 discussion questions. Question number 1. How many times have you said, all that the Lord tells me to do, I will do? How successful were you in your efforts? 2. At the end of Moses' 40 days stay with the Lord on Mount Sinai, God emphasized that the Israelites must observe his Sabbath, because it would be a sign between God and them that it was the Lord who would make them holy. What role do holiness and sanctification play in keeping the Sabbath? And 3, the Lord wanted them to make a sanctuary so that I may dwell among them. How fascinating that this place was the center of salvation for Israel. It was here in this sanctuary where God dwelt among his people. that the plan of salvation was wrote out in types and shadows. What does this tell us about our total dependence upon God for salvation? For what does it mean that through the blood all their sins were brought to the sanctuary, God's house? How does this amazing truth reflect, even if dimly, what Jesus did on the cross for us and what he is doing for us now in the heavenly sanctuary? Yeah, my favorite inside story is Knowing an All-Knowing God by Andrew McChesney. Iqbal didn't know anything about Jesus when he traveled more than 600 miles from his home to learn English at a Seventh-day Adventist boarding high school in Southern Asia. He had been raised in a non-Christian family, and his parents sent him at the age of 20 to join his sister at the school. She was studying there and excelling in her English classes. Iqbal attended all the school's morning and evening worship service. He went to all the Sabbath service. An interest began to beat in his heart to know Jesus. He read the Bible, looking for information about Jesus. His eyes were drawn to Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. He thought, I want to know Jesus personally because he knew me personally before he formed me in my mother's womb. Weeks turned into months, and Iqbal learned more about Jesus. He thought, could it be that Jesus brought me more than 600 miles from my home, not only to learn English, but also to learn about his love? He began to experience Jesus' love in his own life, and 2.5 years after arriving at the school, he decided to give his heart to Jesus and be baptized. After graduating from the school, Iqbal went on to receive a Bachelor of Computer Applications from Lowry Adventist College in Bengaluru, India, and to join its staff, where he works in campus ministry activities. Jesus is his life. Now I am happy to live with Jesus, he said. Day by day, Jesus leads me and takes care of me. Whenever I face a problem, Jesus Christ is my refuge and brings me out of the problem. Iqbal expressed astonishment at the omniscience of Jesus, the idea that Jesus not only knew him before forming him in his mother's womb, but also knows the needs that he has before he himself is aware of them. I thank Jesus that he takes care of my needs long before I even know about them. He said, before I ask, he knows what to give, through whom to give it. This is the reason I trust in him and love him more each day. Yeah, Lowry Adventist College received part of a 13th Sabbath offering in 2024 to open an English church. Thank you for your mission offering that support vital projects around the world. Here is the Iqbal. I'm sorry, I just pronounced his name exactly, Iqbal or Iqbal. Yeah, and provided by the General Conference Office of Adventist Mission, which uses Sabbath School mission offerings to spread the gospel worldwide. Read new stories daily at Adventist vision.org. Yeah, let's pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Yeah, let's go together. May God bless all of you. Amen.